Hi guys. A Trojan horse was dangerous, not because it looked threatening. It was dangerous because it was welcomed inside. And I think that's a great metaphor to use regarding certain things that just are part of our everyday lives now in 2026, and things that just come in and they're normal seemingly, or they innocent seemingly stuff, but they after time left unchecked and unnoticed, after time they begin to erode us. And I've got four things that four of these that I'd like to talk about briefly in today's video. Just a bit of a note, my name is Richard, welcome, and just a quick heads up that I do have a bit of a speech problem that comes up from time to time. If you do hear me or see me start to stumble, please could you be patient, bear with me, and I will correct myself as best as I can. Thank you for being here again, and I am looking forward to hearing from you in due course. But these four things, they are our attention gets eroded, our relationships can get eroded, our identity taints and becomes a little bit more frail, and our direction in life can also begin to get eroded. And I'd like to talk about four Trojans that are quietly doing this, that a lot of men, I think, miss. It's not because they are not wise, but maybe it's because they don't know that they need to be on a lookout for them. So the first thing, and these are really obvious, is digital distractions. And of course, these do affect and cost our attention. Many of us have hobbies and interests. We go online, we look up our favorite sportsmen, hobbies, interests, travel places, mechanics, every kind of interest, you name it. Today we can go and find it, and if we're not careful, we can waste a lot of time scrolling. These AI, these platforms, these algorithms that are used appear to be set up in a way to make it very easy for us to scroll, and I'll just scroll to the next post and the next one, and pretty soon you've wasted some precious time of yours, of your life, that you're never going to get back. And if it's a emotive post, a post that invites a lot of drama, and you get caught up in that, cortisol spikes, all of those things are not really going to be of any benefit to you, but they will cost you time. Sometimes they will cause people closest to you to think that you care more about that digital screen than you care about them. It's not good in a family environment with spouses and kids, and it can get you worked up. It can it's like a gateway or a doorway into your conscience, and it can make you fearful. It can make you very, very angry. So yeah, devices and screens and social media and that are here to stay. They're not going away, but they can cause you a lot of problems. And if you are trying to focus on a big task, that does, if you don't switch that stuff off, it's going to be hard for you to give your best. So please, for you, be mindful of the digital distractions. According to some biostatistics, I forget the one I was looking at a couple of weeks back. I think, if I'm not wrong, it stated that 80 to 80+% of people who commit suicides in America every year are men. 80%, or just over that. That is a very, very significant number of men. And one of these Trojans is isolation. As I said earlier, we live in a very high-paced world. There's a lot going on. There's pressure. There's narrow margins to get projects in. Guys get married. They have kids. And with so much going on at such a fast pace, and emails and social media and webinars and digital products to create, it's conceivable to consider that a lot more people today are sitting behind their screens, and they're not having much time to get out and be with people. And for most men, that is not a healthy thing. From everything that I've seen in my 50-odd years of walking on this planet, one thing that I see that is very healthy for men is to spend a little bit of time with other men, be it on the sports field, in front of a darts board, a pool table, even just around a barbecue. Men need that camaraderie. They need banter. And I think that generally they beam up, if I can coin a phrase like that, when they can get into situations when there can be a little bit of competition. I think that it does men very good to have that. But it's 2026 and life is busy. And so please be mindful of this very gradual slide. It's a very, very gentle slope, but many of you might be realizing something isn't quite right, and just check. It might be that more and more you are not having that human contact, that human engagement, laughter, friendship, and if you spend too much time on your own, it's easy for negative thought loops to become more entrenched in your thought patterns, and whereas sometimes if you're out with other people, and you talking about what's on your mind, other people will be able to often speak into that and challenge you to think differently, maybe. So if you are alone, whether you are single, married and kids, dogs, hectic jobs, I think that a future you will thank yourself for doing what you need to do to get a break each week and go to a CrossFit class, or try and find some kind of an outlet where there's a class and you have to engage and spend some time with people. The next thing is your identity. Identity, of course, is foundational. It is, of course, who you and I are. And I think that it's very easy for many of us when we are going through our jobs, things are okay. There's no real dramas or big stresses. We have some expendable income, and we start to look on social media again, digital distractions, magazines, billboards. We start to see what a better life looks like, and obviously with successful marketing being and doing what it's supposed to do, it might not be long before you start thinking, I would really like a pair of those sunglasses, or I think I would really look cool in those jeans, or I need a Harley or a Maserati, or I need to buy a boat, this jacket, that Stetson hat. And whilst these things are really nice to buy and to own, and if you're working hard, and it's nice to be able to spend your hard-earned cash on things that you like and will make you feel good, it can become a bit addictive, and you'll have 3 pairs of shoes and you'll suddenly see this other pair, and you'll want that, and you'll want that bike, and you want to buy this and to buy that, and it's all not much, but some of what people are doing in terms of their spending is not just to look cool when they go out, but it's for photographs, for social media. And when you see people out there and they're dressed, let's just use dress as as an example, and they're looking dressed up and really, really well, you can begin to think of them as people who maybe they actually aren't. And if you're one of those people who has either dabbled in consumer identity buying, or if you're doing it now, it's not something that's ever going to make you feel real. Nice things are nice things to have, of course, but invariably, and usually what I've seen in the lives of people around me and in my own life, and of course throughout history, is that strength and value and virtue and your better self usually are tempered and forged in life trials when things are really tough and hard. And if you're just coasting through life and you haven't had to overcome much and you are breezing around in a sports car and things are going fine and have been going fine for a long time, I think that purchasing a look to feel like you are X, Y, or Z after a bit is going to still make you feel hollow, and you will feel that you need to buy more stuff. And if you find yourself in that place, I would invite you to think about, if you aren't already, of course, doing things like this, go and give yourself up, offer your time and some help into a charity event, an old people's home. Try and find something that's going to test you, and it's going to put you in a place that's a little bit uncomfortable, where there's a bit of a challenge, and it's those things, and it's going through those things, and it's coming out and seeing it through out onto the other side, that you will start to begin to feel the clothes and look is great, but also I've done stuff, I've lived through stuff, I've wrestled, I've taken on very hard tasks, and it's those things and going through them that are going to give you a little bit more depth and a little bit more inner, what's the word I'm looking for? You're going to just feel a little bit more of a real you than if it's just materialistic purchases to create a look. Last of all, direction. What erodes our direction? Big one here. Lots of men are in this, I think. And there are a lot of men out there who work hard. There are a lot of men who are out there busy. But I think it's better to be a man who has a purpose and who's living out that purpose than it is to be a man just working hard for the sake of working hard, or being busy for the sake of being busy. The problem with not having a driving passion and purpose is that you have a vacuum or a void inside you that will be filled with what you give your time and attention to. I've got an example here. I know this guy, and he's got a reasonable job. He's had it for quite a long time, and it's not a hard job, and in many ways he's comfortable, and he's just sort of coasting through. Picks up his paycheck end of each month, and he goes home, watches TV. And as you and I know, TV, the media, news, Hollywood are there to make money. And sensational things, political things, global events, usually ones that are not positive or have a certain spin of creating either anxiety, anger, fear. And this guy just gets so into these news cycles, and it works him up. He's not realizing that he's actually giving himself over to this drama, and he's taking it in, and he's working it into himself. He's getting worked up, and he's ranting about it over and over and over for days and days on end. And I think about his poor family, and it's draining to have to be around a person like that, or endlessly talking about sports teams, or whenever somebody comes to converse with you, you take it back to your favorite pet hate of, in this instance, it's about the news, of course. Don't be that guy. If you have a purpose, if you find something big and something hard to get your teeth into, go at that with all of your heart, because outside of that is just entertainment, what happens on TV, what your neighbors are or aren't doing, what the government's doing or not doing, and especially on things like global scale, what's happening in this country, what's happening in that country. This is, you don't really have control over what those people are doing. You get so worked up, you get everybody else worked up, and it's just meaningless. If you find you are prone to that, you don't have a big purpose, if you are in a season where it's been quiet for a while and just mundane things are taking over your thought life in a repeating conveyor belt type way, it might be time to think about finding a purpose. And the bigger the purpose that you can find to do, I think the better your own outcome is going to be for you. Once again, thank you for joining me. please, if you have an experience or a testimony, or something that you've become aware of, please could you drop it in the comments. I will try and respond if you are talking to me. I'm sure that there will be men out there in due course who, when they read what you've overcome, what you've learned, what you've experienced, they are going to be able to get some value and some help from your life situation. So I hope that you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.